There's nothing more frustrating in the Pokemon TCG than just sitting there when you have no win condition, your opponent's totally run you out of options. Like you don't want to scoop and give them the satisfaction of winning in such a vile way, but also you want to just get it over with and get on with your life. So
I absolutely hate being in these situations.
So I'm going to be the nice guy and teach you how to put your opponent in these exact spots. I'm going to be doing it with this Snorlax middle list. So with this deck, we're trying to run our opponent out of switching cards thanks to the block Snorlax. When it's in the active spot, our opponent cannot retreat. So you see we have like Misfortune Sisters to aggressively mill our opponent's switching cards. We play a ton of gusting cards like Boss, Cross Switcher, and Pokemon Catcher to be able to gust up those bad bench Pokemon that they cannot attack with. And we have things like Manaphy and Echoing Horn to put those things onto their, like force our opponent to put bad Pokemon onto their bench. We have Rotom as our main draw engine to refill our hand at the end of our turns, and Arven's gonna be our main way to get going in the early turns. But there's a lot of little nuance to this deck, and I could probably spend like 20 minutes talking about all the different strategy and crazy plays you can go for. I do have a couple of games where I show off some of the stuff that the deck can do, so check those out. Alright, let's have some fun. Let's see if we can get a game with Snorlax where we can completely wall our opponent out of the game. I love how this deck has a ton of different win conditions. We're not necessarily dependent on Snorlax to win the game. Like, yes, it's our main win condition will be retreat lock, but also we have deck out and like Mimikyu as other sort of win conditions too. So we're going first, which is I don't know if you want to go first or second with this deck, honestly, because like you can Arven for VIP on the first turn if you go second. But also I just think getting the first turn of evolving is probably pretty. If you don't, I mean that. I don't know, probably, I don't know, because like, it probably makes seconds honestly better, but I don't really know. So we're up against Pidgey, some sort of Pidgey, yeah, so we would have had the, I think we'll just keep all our options open. Do we want to overbench the Lax, really? Sure, why not? And then we'll pass on over. Probably going second is honestly better, so we can find the VIP pass, go wide, but like also we don't necessarily want to go super wide. Like we would like just to have one or two Snorlaxes in play. We don't, or like maybe Rotom also to get some sort of draw going. So I don't know. I feel like this deck like really doesn't mind whether it wins or loses the coin flip. It probably slightly prefers to go. I don't know, it just feels pretty even. Like like going second. Obviously, you can play Arven find VIP, but going first, you can, yeah, I think probably going second is better. But that's okay, these are the choices that we made. So we're up against an Arceus Pidgeot Charizard deck, presumably. So I'm going to go and play an Arven. So we're going to want to be able to retreat lock them in this matchup with Snorlax, because they don't usually play too many switching cards. I'm going to go ahead and get the Rotom down to like sort of build up my hand here. Let's make sure we have the Manaphy and all of that. So there's the Manaphy, which will be important. We don't have Echoing Horn. We have a Rotom. That's good. We have Triple Sisters. Yeah, Echoing Horn is prized, so that's not super great. But I feel fine getting Rotom down because it's 190 HP, so we're not at risk of getting one shot by a Trinity Nova. Also have the Forest Seal stood on. I don't need to gear. I'll just instant charge. This Pidgey is still trapped. Found the Peonia, could be a solid option for next turn. Yeah, we'll see how my opponent decides to play this, because like if they're just going to play their board how it is right now, I can just sit, like, I'm not assuming that they evolved this guy into a Pidgeot. I can go into Mimikyu, maybe force them to drop some more stuff. Like this is very reactive. Like we kind of have to do, like, at least in this particular matchup, we're like sort of reacting to what our opponent is doing. Like our win condition can like sort of shift, or like I guess our end game is almost always going to be Snorlax blocking them out, but like how we try to grind them down in the early, mid to late game like sort of changes depending on the matchup and depending on how our opponent plays it. Because our opponent could just like take it slow and just gust this entire game. Alright, there's an Ultra Ball dumping double Charizard. So they're like trying to go Charizard list this game. Probably gonna go ahead and grab an Arceus V-Star. I think I'm just gonna like try like spam Misfortune Sisters, get those get those switching cards out of the deck, and then try to maybe go for like a Manaphy play once their hand gets bigger. Or we can try to pivot to like Mimikyu or something to force them to bench something else if they do decide to evolve this Pidgeot, because they might just be like, I'm just gonna blustery win you out. What are you gonna do about it? And I will just go back into Mimikyu and force him to have to bench something else. So this might get Candy Pidgeot to get them to start using Pidgeot EX. That looks like what they're going to do here. So we're going to pivot over towards Mimikyu now and see what they can really do. Judge is kind of annoying because we had the Penny. Well, luckily we dropped the Forest Seal Stone. There's Mimikyu, there's Gear. I guess if it was Iono, then those pennies would have gone to the bottom of the deck, but it was just a Judge, so that's alright. Blustery Wind for 120. Honestly, just using Boss and gusting up the Arceus isn't the worst play in the world either. So let's Pokegear. I'll grab the Sisters, I guess. I can Penny, and then I can go back into Mimikyu. I can Boss up this Arceus. I think I want to, let's start Alchemy for the Penny and pick up the Snorlax. Deny the prize. Piece up all the pennies in there. And then I'm just going to go back into this Mimikyu. It might force them to like go for boss's orders early in this game to like try to aggressively take these guys out. Or it also might get them to drop some Charmanders or something like that. And maybe start to spread the resource a bit thinner, because like they can theoretically Blustery Wind us until it takes 6 prizes. It's going to take a while, but they will eventually win if we just sit with Snorlax. We have to find some other way to get them to use up the resource, because we'll never deck them out if they're just using Blustery Wind with this one Pidgeot. Like we can gust up that Arceus, but they can eventually just load it up to start knocking out stuff. So Mimikyu is pretty good with no non-EX or V attacker on the board. So presumably, yep, there's a Charmander hitting the board. That's what we wanted to see. Fire Energy on Charmander. And I guess like Quick Search is really good. They can like always make sure they have their stuff every single turn. Just the Blustery Wind. I'm probably just going to Sisters, and then it'll be interesting to see if they play Charmeleon or not. So let's play the Misfortune Sisters. I will discard those 2 cards. I guess Binning, I think neither one of them is terribly relevant, but I suppose they're alright. I think we'll just instant charge once again. We're just honest, want to take it slow here. Like this is like not very fast, not very aggressive. We're just like reacting to what our opponent does. So like now we're probably gonna see our opponents. Like I guess if they're playing Charmeleon, which most lists do, they will like have to have 3 energies on to attack with. So like maybe it'd be good to like load up this Mimikyu and start like swinging with. Have like Ghost Eyes as an option. They do put the double turbo on the board on the Arceus V-Star. They retreat into Charmander, and they're going to start using Heat Tackle. Okay. So that's pretty spicy. Maybe they don't have Charmeleon? And if so, if we just load up for this Ghost Eye here and just keep knocking at these Charmanders every single turn, maybe even put a Bravery Charm on this Mimikyu, we will be able to win this game most likely, because with only 3 prizes on the board, they do have to get through this Mimikyu to win the game. And also we do have Klara to get even more Mimikyus back. They will get down another Charmander. And are we just going to see a Heat Tackle here? Like that's, considering that they're going in with a Charmander like this leads me to believe that either Charmeleon is prized or they do not play one. And like, I know it's not mandatory. Like I have seen plenty of lists without Charmeleon. This makes our matchup a lot easier here. Arven is solid. So we got Arven for the. Let's Arven for the Energy Search and the Bravery Charm. At least beefing up this Mimikyu. I can Energy Search for that Psychic. And like I can slowly just grind. Like they'll keep hitting me for 30 a turn, but I can Penny and heal it up. I got Cyllene. I got a lot of stuff I can do in this match. With no Charmeleon, presumably, we're in a pretty solid spot. There is the there's another energy which we can use to attack with. They're gonna need to use 3 more Heat Tackles, and like I guess they could be playing Lost Vacuum. That would be pretty annoying. But let's see what they got going on. There's a Fire on the bench Charmander. It's gonna be Charmander against Mimikyu. This is funny because like you never see Charmander attack, but it's like the main attacker in this particular instance. So you'd love to see it. So not really anything relevant off that Chorus getting Lost Zones. So yeah, okay, no, Quick Search. I thought they were gonna Heat Tackle there. Quick Search. I'm sure if they have Charmeleon, this Pidgeot would have found that by now. So either they don't play one or it's prized. Like also they wouldn't have gone this aggro with Charmander if they could have evolved it, I would think. you never know. It's ladder. People play logically all the time. I just think that this line of play means that there's no Charmeleon, so they just punch my Mimikyu once again. I'll chuck a V-Guard energy on the Mimikyu. I will play Misfortune Sisters. You can mill another rare candy. League Headquarters could be annoying. Makes our Mimikyu need one more energy to attack with, but it also means the Charmander needs one more energy. So I'm just going to chill. We'll just use Ghost Eye and take the knockout. The stall deck going aggro, taking prizes. You love to see it. So there's one Charmander down. Cross Switchers is cool. So I'm going to want to probably use Penny and go back into Snorlax. Just reset this Mimikyu. We've invested a lot into it. I don't want it to just get knocked out, but if they do have a lost vacuum, we'll surely see it this turn. Another Charmander hitting the board. Oh my goodness, this is a funny matchup when they don't play Charmeleon. I think like it's going to be kind of a slow grind here, or we'll slowly Ghost Die and take all 6 prizes. But there's not much that they can do. It'd be interesting like if this was a tournament and my opponent was like on a could possibly play for the tie. Some people try to like intentionally play super slowly against these stall decks because usually they don't have an offensive win condition. So I guess if they're playing the other, oh, there goes Penny. That's tragic. Those are both our other pennies. So it'd be nice to like a Nest Ball and a way to shuffle the deck. I guess Switch Cart Retreat heals a whole Heat Tackle worth of damage. So like some people in like a tournament setting, they know like this Charizard player is like, significantly unfavored with just the way that their list is, and I have Mimikyu. So they would intentionally just play as slow as possible to try to stretch it out to a tie. That's why I'm like sort of scared to play this deck for a tournament. It's something I do want to try because I do enjoy playing stall style decks. I do discard Delphox. Gotta remember, Eerie Glow can be used to technically damage that Mimikyu because Mimikyu only blocks damage and not effects. There's a candy into a Charizard. I'm confused. Are they going to like try to like they already played Iono this turn, so they can't boss his orders. So like are they gonna like try to boss up the Rotom next turn? What's the play in here? That's our last rare candy too. Maybe maybe they're trying to like go hunting for that Charmeleon that could potentially be prized. It's the only thing I can think of. League Headquarters. No, they're gonna go for the League Headquarters Charmander play. Using lots of energies to get that done though. So if we could use a Sisters and mill Super Rod or something, that'd be pretty epic. But that's 2, 4, 5, 8 energies. That very well could be all of them. I'm just gonna use Nest Ball here to shuffle the deck because we know that Penny and Misfortune Sisters, they got shoved to the bottom, and I'd like to have access to them again soon. I'm going to switch cards back into the Snorlax, and then we can play the Hisuian Heavy Ball. There's a Temple of Sinnoh, Echoing Horn, another Bravery Charm, and then I guess I could use Pal Pad if I really wanted to, and chuck back in Penny and a Sisters or double Sisters. Honestly, I'm okay putting those Misfortune Sisters back into the deck, because like now that they've like sort of spent lots of energies, an alternative win condition for us has popped up where they've spent lots of like a ton of resources to try to knock out this Mimikyu. So even if they do accomplish knocking out Mimikyu, they're gonna have a hard time pivoting between their Pokemon. Like so, if I can block and try off retreats, and then like, surely this Pidgeot is going to find boss's orders and pull up Mimikyu. Or I guess maybe a switch, but I doubt it. So yeah, there's a boss's orders, and I'll pull up Mimikyu once again. I'm okay having them spin bosses like this just to try to aggressively knock out Mimikyu. Having Penny off the top would be absolutely clutch. Pokemon Catcher. Okay, I'll try to Catcher and drag up. We cannot drag up the Charizard EX. That's fine. I'll just Arven, and I'll just Crabominable Switch Cart, and I can do this all day. Let's Switch Cart, heal another 30, and then I will just instant charge, keep refilling the hands. So my opponent, there's the Penny. If my opponent keeps wanting to just hit me with Heat Tackle over and over again, play their boss's orders, I'm gonna win this war of attrition 9 times out of 10. Like, unless they have Charmeleon to one-shot this guy, like, Heat Tackle versus Bravery Charm Mimikyu, I'm pretty much always gonna win. Again, and they're probably not playing Barrel here, because, like, otherwise they'd probably, like, try to go for Tail Smash. I know it's a lot of resources to commit for potentially 0 damage, but this is not very effective. So, yeah, I'm just gonna play Penny, and now they're gonna have to spend a Switch card just to get out of this Charmander. I'll rebench Mimikyu, I'll put a Bravery Charm on it, we'll drop Psychic on it, and we'll just Rotom once again. And like, if they're spending boss's orders to chase Mimikyu, that may mean that my Rotom's like super safe for the rest of the game, so there's not going to be like any sort of opportunity for them to like put me low with a Judge or an Iono, get me like break up my combo pieces, and then just take up my Rotom, and then I'm like sort of breaking out after that. Like, they're spending their bosses to take up Mimikyu. And like, I have a triple Penny, 2 Pal Pads, so you're never knocking out this Mimikyu with just Charmanders unless you can brick me out, which they did not. So really, my opponents, there's not a ton that they can do right now. They will play an Iono. I had some boss orders and all my energy in hand, so that's a bit annoying. I got a couple Cross Switchers of Penny, so we got a lot of fun stuff to work with. Like, with Temple being prized, it makes this league headquarters very annoying. It makes it harder for me to get into that Mimikyu, but it's okay. We're fine. There's down to 8 cards left in the deck. We have not seen a Super Ride yet, though. I'd love to be able to mill one of those. We've not seen any sort of switches or Super Rides. Sometimes Charizard lists are like completely do not play Switch. We just see a Heat Tackle. I guess they can eventually knock themselves out to get unretreat locked. That just feels really bad, so I'm okay just sitting here with another instant charge. I know this is riveting gameplay, guys, so I appreciate anyone sticking through this part. But this is how this deck rolls. It's very grindy, but you put your my opponent just scoops. They had no way to take that game. Alright, let's see if we can fit another game in with Snorlax Stall. I don't want this video to run too long, but I also want to capture maybe more of the deck than just Mimikyu and Mimikyu, Penny, and Misfortune Sisters. So, but you did get to see our basic blueprints against Charizard, which everyone's playing right now. I'm still in the camp of Charizard's pretty mid, and I don't think it's like the usage rate doesn't reflect the actual power level of the deck. Like, yeah, it's a 3rd or 4th most popular deck, but it's really not that good. So we opened Gardevoir, which is one of our weaker starters. We are getting mulligans. We found our one in Battle VIP Pass. We're up against a Miraidon deck, so this should be pretty interesting. Mimikyu is going to be honestly pretty awesome because like they only have Flaffy and the Zeri Aura to knock us out. So we can like force them to. And also like if they're putting energies on Flaffy, that's like not like, and then we go back into Snorlax, that's not going to be doing too much damage. I'm probably just speaking nonsense right now, but hopefully it makes sense to like 1 or 2 people. I guess that's what matters. So we're getting Snorlax and Rotom out of the deck. There is 1 Rotom prized to be prized. 1 Misfortune Sisters. We have Klara, Echoing. We have Temple of Sinnoh. All of our energies. I did see Mimikyu in there, so I guess let's check Pal Pads. That's an important one. 2 Pal Pads, so pretty painless prizes. Okay, I sort of want to hold the energy. I think I can just hold the gears, because I could gear and grab a ton of supporter cards, but they could just get put to the bottom of the deck with Iono. Because like with my massive hand, my opponent's already going to be pretty inclined to play Iono, so I don't want it to make... I want my odds of drawing good cards as likely as possible. Okay, but this matchup's going to be really interesting. Because Miraidon's its game plan is to be fast, aggressive, and disruptive with Judge and Path. So, and we want to be like sort of a more slow, methodical, grind you out style deck, where Miraidon's like the exact opposite. Like, we're both disruptive, but in like sort of different ways. So, will Miraidon deck be like Miraidon's win condition is gonna be like running us off the table as fast as possible. So a longer game is definitely going to favor us. Like if we can use the Misfortune Sisters early to mill some switches. They're going to go heavy Flaffy early, which makes a ton of sense. Like, we're never going to run them out of energies. Like they always can have, I guess, but if we're retreat locking, then retreating with the energy is an option. Ooh, aggro Raikou is pretty good for them. Luckily, we can just drop a Bravery Charm to keep the Snorlax around, force them to have to load up a Miraidon. But being able to save a switch card is pretty clutch. Take an early prize card. Bravery Charm doesn't really mean anything. And a Research, I much prefer that to something like a Judge or an Iono. Cast of the Peak would still suck. I want to be able to use Instant Charge as often as possible these early turns. So yeah, but I was just going to retreat and probably take the knockout with the Raikou. Yeah, because they have just enough, because the Gardevoir does basically cancel out one bench Pokemon, but they have a full bench, so hitting just enough damage. Only one attached with Miraidon. I guess also Sisters can mill electro generator. I don't know why I was trying to say electromagnetic generator, but whatever. I played this game, I swear. So, oh, Path. I was like, wait, was I cringe? Okay, Path. They shut off my Gardevoir. So, I'll be promoting the Snorlax. Then we have a few options here. Let's say Pokemon Catcher, because I'd love to be able to pull up one of these Mareeps if possible. We did hit the head, so we'll drag up this Mareep. I think I'm just going to play the Misfortune Sisters right here. We hit an Ultra Ball, not super relevant, or a Cyllene Lightning. Too bad that the tools are not items anymore. I'll bench another Snorlax, slap the Bravery Charm on the active. Unfortunately, cannot instant charge thanks to Path of the Peak. And most Miraidon lists are playing usually 3 to 4 switching cards, usually 2 cards and 2 ropes, or 1 card and 2 ropes. A rope would be a bit annoying, because like if they rope, then I'm gonna have to either give them a Miraidon, or give them Rotom, which they can knock with Miraidon, or give them a Snorlax, which Lightning Rondo can take out. But forcing them to use switch cards early is always pretty good. Like the reason I benched the Snorlax is just so Escape Rope isn't basically boss's orders. And if they want to take this Rotom, I want to force them to play a boss. There's the Escape Rope. This is very annoying. I think I'm going to give him the Rotom. Half the Peak is in play. I play very few bumps. And they might just like, if they want to go super aggressive, so like load up this Miraidon this turn, just take this knockout, I'm like sort of fine with it, I guess. And then I have Penny if they whiff this knockout. But really does not feel great. They have the energy drop there. They just need to be able to find a Flaffy now. Like, I'm okay that if they evolve Flaffy early, because then I can guess it up. You can't Dynamotor to it. You can't cart out of it. So I'm like sort of trying to bait them here into evolving. There's a Judge, a bit unfortunate with all of our potentially good cards in hand. We have a cart though. We have Boss's Orders once again. Or not once again, but we have Boss to be able to pull up Flaffy. So that looks like what my opponent's going to go for here. They will put the energy on the Miraidon, and these 2 prizes look pretty tasty for them. But I'm honestly okay with this, because now my win condition is like it's become a lot easier with them evolving into this Flaffy. Because like if they want to start swinging with Flaffy, that's fine, because this thing is doing 50 damage, 4-shotting a Charmed Snorlax, giving me plenty of time to pick it up with something like a Penny. So I'll just bench the Snorlax. I will gust up the Flaffy. I have another boss to follow it up with, so pretty nice. I think I'm just going to pass. I'll hold the Nest Ball for maximum options. I might want to go over into Mimikyu. I might want to get another Snorlax. I guess we can just thin out a Lax. Nah, this is fine. We'll pass. I can see the argument to just thinning out Snorlax, because it's most likely going to be our win condition, but I like want to leave all options on the table if I want to go and pivot into something else potentially. Like maybe you can get I don't think I ever want to bench Rotom again though. And my other Rotom's prize anyway, isn't it? So there's a Dynamotor. I'm going to put the energy on another Miraidon and just pass it. So if I can get to the Misfortune Sisters ASAP, good, but we cannot find them right now. So I think I'm just going to, on second thought, I'm going to just get down a Snorlax. I just want to get to the Misfortune Sisters as fast as possible. And if I can mill like their last rope, or mill some potentially valuable cards, I think that's going to be how we end up winning this game. They do play tons of Lightning Energy. So they will definitely be able to attack with Electro Ball. And Ultra Ball can go ahead and grab them their other Flaffy if they really want it. I guess they are going to be going for it. So that's all right for us, I think. That's another thing that cannot be. I guess it really doesn't mean too much taking down the second Flaffy. He just thins it out for him. I guess it means like if they like collapsed or something, we still always have one of these dudes to gust up. So there's Dynamotor again, pass it on over. That's just the top deck we wanted. Escape Rope off the top, that is absolutely huge. Yeah, nothing else relevant there, but that could be the game. They sometimes, well, I guess, yeah, if they're playing just cards for the other two switching cards, they will put the energy on the Flaffy. We could start seeing some Electro Balls soon, but since they have all this other guy, like if they commit 2 energies here, I can just go boss and pull up this guy. And then they have to commit 2 more or 3 more energies just to be able to attack with this one. So we might try to spread their energies super thin. But there's 4, 7, 8 total energies. They still should have quite a few more. Boss Swords at the top, I'll just pass. Don't really want to I guess we Pal Pad back in Double Sisters maybe. Yeah, we'll do that extra. I definitely should have done that. Because there's for a Seal Stone. Let's see if that goes ahead and finds them. If they have any more switching cards, or if this Flaffy is just straight up stuck. I can't imagine them having many more than 2 ropes. Like, I guess 3 is possible, but you don't usually, like, you usually have 2-2 splits. So I don't know what they grab there. They did it quite quickly. They definitely had a card in mind, but what was that card? They've not. They just slam down rope if they have it, right? Did they grab cart but not realize it was only basics? That's kind of an interaction that doesn't come up super often. So this boss's orders, that's totally irrelevant. It just brings up the 150 HP Snorlax. I guess it's not totally irrelevant, but it's very unlikely to really matter that much. I'll chuck it back in Double Misfortune Sisters and pass. And considering my opponent did not just grab rope, I'm fairly certain they don't have another way to move this Flaffy, so it's just going to be up to this Flaffy to take 3 prizes. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to play Boss Orders and pull this other Flaffy and force them to commit all the energies all over again. If they want to start using Electro Ball. So that is 9 energies in play. Like, they still should have enough to be able to attack with this one. It's just more about, like, and even we could, like, if we spread these energies super far out and like we run them out, we could even gust up this Raichu or something. That'd be hilarious. Like a Pokemon that would normally one-shot us, just getting it stuck because they're out of energies. But I guess we can't like gust up Raichu unless we know both cards are accounted for. There's an Arven, so now we'll really know for sure if there's no ropes in deck. Generator and Forest Seal. They're just gonna play the Generator. Don't know why, because they don't really need energies on any of these bench Pokemon. Isn't this okay? Okay, I just put it on the Flaffy, top it out with 3. So that is now what, 11 energies? I guess that's what are they playing, like 13, 14, 15 energies, something along those lines. I just pass again, I guess. Oh man, the Forest Seal and the Miraidon, absolutely epic. So yeah, there's another pass. Penny, that's a good card to have at our disposal. They can last quite a while if they are trying not to deck out. They probably have another Judge or 2 and maybe 2 to 3 Ionos. Nest Ball off the top is interesting, but I don't think we really want to do anything with it yet. I mean, like, we could go Crab and potentially like aggro mill, but then they just like retreat and hit it with the Miraidon. Or like, wait, but they can't one-shot it, can they? I don't hate this. This is actually like super greedy though. No, they have, it's 220. For some reason I thought it was 230. Okay, follow this along. Do not do that. If I had a Bravery Charm, maybe we would consider it. Like, also they like I like retreats into Miraidon, double Dynamo, and then Cart. they could use the Raichu to take a big knockout. Crabominable really wants its time to shine, but not yet, buddy. Not yet. It does like force our opponent though to be like have to Iono a couple turns quicker because of the trigger avalanche. I will Arven. I'll grab. We'll grab the Pal Pad and a Forest Sealstone. I guess my other Bravery Charm is prized. Okay, I think we just go ahead and pass. We don't. What is this deck? Is it's probably very boring to watch. There's probably no one watching here at like whatever the 30-minute mark that we're at. But whatever. I wanted to be able to like sort of show off what this deck can do, and it may not be the most exciting one to watch, but I know there's a lot of control players out there. And I think this is probably the best way to play like a stall / control / mill deck right now. My opponent's Ionoing very early. We're not going to try to get any lower before doing it. That's sort of interesting. We find the Sisters, a Gear. Definitely lots of good cards to work with. Peonia. So we Sisters mill a card. That's good. What else do we find in there? A Boss Orders and 2 Lightning Slabs. So they still have plenty of Lightning Energies. And we do have to keep the Boss Orders in mind. I'll grab the other Snorlax. I don't think I'm ever mentioning Rotom again at this point. And we might be playing Peonia next turn. I'll just Gear. I'll grab another Misfortune Sisters, and I'll just keep this mill train going. I'm gonna keep just spamming it until they, like, once we see the second cart go, I feel pretty good. Because like then even if they load up this Flaffy, I probably can pull up the Raichu, and they just decide to concede. They don't want to deal with the Snorlax block deck. So that's all I got for Snorlax Stall. It is a very fun deck. It's not going to win you a tournament, but it's actually pretty solid. And if you're just looking for a deck to troll your local league or troll the ladder, get some rage quits, this is a pretty good pick right now. I did take this deck to an online tournament, and I streamed it here on my YouTube channel. If you want to check out how to play this deck a little bit more, then check out the stream right here.